I call the meeting of the Township of Hamilton Committee to order, Monday, June 4th, 2018. Will you please stand for the flag salute? Judy?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building and by publication in the Press of Atlantic City on January 5th, 2018, and the Atlantic County Record on January 10th, 2018. Mr. Gouchard?
Present.
Mr. Kurtz?
Present.
Mrs. Link?
Here.
Mr. Silva?
Here.
Mayor Schenker?
Here. We have a moment of silence for private reflection. Thank you. We'll move on to additions, deletion, late agenda items to be considered for action tonight. We have a motion to accept the additions. We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. We have early public comment on agenda items excluding items listed for public hearings.
Nobody signed up, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Discussions, number 3, formal actions may be taken. We have a discussion on the estimated tax bills. Phil, could you enlighten us on this, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The county has not struck the tax rate for 2018 yet, and this is just in case they don't have it done before June 30th. It puts us in a position where we could publish an estimated bill in a timely manner to keep on the quarterly schedule. Again, if the county does come up with the rate beforehand, it's an exercise in voting.
Okay. I heard a rumor it might be 0.
I think
That's why they haven't come up with one yet.
Bad rumor. All right. Somebody make a call tomorrow, see if you can make that happen. Thank you. Okay. We don't have to take action on this. I assume that...
It's a resolution.
Yeah, there is
okay.
a resolution there, yes.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry.
And Finance has prepared the levy based on an estimated 5% increase in the general county tax rate.
Okay.
I'll move that resolution.
We have a motion.
I'll second it.
We have a second. We have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Gouchard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Thank you. There are no public hearings. There are no introduction of ordinances. We'll move on to number 6, awards of bids, contracts, and change orders. A, rescind resolution 2018-0169 for the purchase of watch guard body worn cameras under state contract A81300T0106.
Mr. Mayor, both 6A and B, they're both related.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago, the committee did award the contract for the cameras and the watch guard. The technical staff at the police department continued doing their research, and they found us a better deal. That's the best way to put it.
Okay.
Instead of buying through the state contract, we'll be purchasing through the Houston-Galveston co-op. Purchase price is roughly $4,000 less, and it's my understanding that some of the equipment is even an upgrade.
Okay.
So we're getting a better deal out of it.
Getting a thumbs up from the chief, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Amen.
I'll make a motion to rescind the resolution.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Could I have a roll call on that, please?
Sure you can. You have a roll call vote on that, please?
Mr. Gouchard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
B, resolution awarding a contract to purchase body-worn camera from Enforcement Video LLC. through Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative Purchasing Program. That's a mouthful. In the amount of $51,514. We will need a roll call vote for that one,
So moved.
please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
C, resolution awarding contract to purchase of equipment for the upfit of police vehicles from Advanced Electronics under State Contract A81300T0106. Patrol PC mobile data terminals, 6 units totaling $32,286. WatchGuard mobile video recorders, 7 units for the total price of $37,121.
I'll move that resolution awarding the contract.
We have a motion and a second.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes, although I looks, price $37,000, we're talking about 6 units. I hope this is the best we can get, but it certainly does sound expensive. I know how sophisticated the electronics are in the police units, but it seems like a bit much. Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
D, resolution accepting proposal for West Jersey Avenue, New Jersey DOT Municipal Aid Grant Survey and Design and Construction Management Services with Dixon and Associates Engineering, LLC, not to exceed $75,500.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Thank you. Consent agenda. I would take a motion on all of the consent items.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A, 1 through 4, to item D.
There's also an E, John.
We have E.
Okay, I didn't see E. We're going to include E.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and second.
Yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, the ayes have it. Personnel. A, resolution approving the transfer of Samantha Arias Smith from regular time, full-time to regular part-time.
So moved.
Communications officer, $15.92 an hour, June 4th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
B, resolution appointing Mackenzie Hankins as a part-time communications officer for the police department at the salary of $15.92 per hour, contingent upon successful completion of background process.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. A roll call, please.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
C, resolution appointing Robert Lerner as a part-time communications officer for the police department at the salary of $15.92 an hour, contingent upon a successful completion of background process.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
So moved.
We'll move on to number 9, approvals, minutes of May 21st meeting, May 21st, 2018, regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. B, minutes of the May 21st, 2018, executive session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
C, payroll and bills, bill list, the total $855,796.14.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we get a roll call vote on that, please?
Mr. Gishard? Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Move on to our reports. Administrator, please.
Nothing to add to Mr. Jacobs' report.
Thank you. Mrs. Solicitor.
I have nothing to report, but would like to introduce my grandson to everyone. This is Zachary Sandman. I was not here for Student Government Day, and he asked me could he sit, and the mayor said that would be fine.
That's good.
Unfortunately, pal, this may be the fastest meeting in the history of this.
You can come next one. Maybe there'll be something more exciting. You never know.
I do have a question, though, on the, try to slow it down a bit, on the administrator's report. There was a meeting to discuss the township's abatement programs. What was the result of that? I see a second meeting was scheduled. What?
Yeah, the redevelopment council is looking at the ordinances that we have adopted to, see if there's any tuning that could be done. Also, looking to identify if there's any areas of the township that could possibly qualify as either an area in need of redevelopment or an area in need of rehabilitation, either of which would require approval by township committee before any programs could be put into place.
Any conclusions come out of the first meeting?
It appears that there possibly could be some areas. We're in the process of finishing a preliminary analysis. And I know one of the things we're considering and would possibly be going township-wide with a rehabilitation designation. We've asked Steve's office to put together a proposal to assist in doing that work, because a small area is something that technically I could handle, but we're dealing something with 115 square miles and several thousand parcels of land. Takes a little bit more of a bench to get that work done.
And hopefully, we're doing some very good analysis on the tax revenue that we lose as a result of this.
Zero from
I know
zero
there-
is
I know there are
zero.
pluses and minuses, but
There are pluses and minuses, but at the end of the day, if anything comes out of it, that's always a plus. Maybe a little short-term reduction, but it's something we know will be coming as we move on down the line. Helps figuring out as we move forward any form of abatement. First off will be on improvements. It wouldn't be on anything in its existing structure without any improvements. So right away, if it's a rehabilitation, you're getting the property improved, which just itself is a plus. And then over time, the amount of revenue we get from that would also go up.
Are you talking about for instance, if a business was existing and they wanted to improve it, the abatement would come for the improvement, correct?
Correct.
It wouldn't be their whole tax bill,
No, it'll be on a percentage of the value of the improvement.
The improvement?
Right.
Okay.
At this point in time, Mr. Malley, is that his?
Malley.
Am I right? The attorney that we've hired, he's going to bring us, for lack of a better term, an à la carte list of things that can be done to make this situation better. What you just spoke of, there may be a $25,000 cap. I don't know if that's an idea that he's proposing or that's the limit by the law. So he's going to lay out all this stuff. That's the next step, is to see where we can go with this. He had a lot of very good ideas, and to Rodney's point, this is targeted towards the whole town, but if you look at just one piece of property that comes to my mind is where Zabers used to be. And since Zabers burnt down when I was a little kid, there has been nothing there, ever. So if we can do something to help motivate an investor or a developer to buy that piece of property and build on it, I'm willing to give them a break. This type of, when you're talking about the tax money you're losing, zero from zero is zero. You don't get anything for it. We're already getting the taxes on the property itself, that will not change. That part of it doesn't change. The abatement is on any improvements, so there are incentives. I mean, if you want to look at incentives, you look down the Black Horse Pike from the Hamilton Township border east, and you see all the building that's going on down there. The reason it is because the Egg Harbor Township did an abatement quite a few years ago and has benefited from it greatly. If this goes the way we hope it will go, then we will see the benefit of this as the years go by. And as the year goes by, your tax base will grow because your budget continues to grow. And if we don't do something to take that burden off of the residents, then it's going to be on them. And I happen to be one of them, and I'm not looking to take on that burden. So I think it's a very promising thing. We have he's got a lot of good ideas. This gentleman, was the mayor of Collingswood and part of the group that turned that city around. And he's been involved with Galloway. He's involved with Middle Township. He's been involved in Glassboro, which is another town that is not only growing because of that school, but the surrounding area has been done by developers outside that school, and he's had some very clever ideas in helping that to happen. So this gentleman has really taken this idea and grown it and crafted it, and I think we're very fortunate to have him. So I'm looking forward to see what he has to bring us.
I wouldn't concentrate too hard on the Zabris property, though, because I believe that's Egg Harbor Township.
No,
it's
Was
not.
that-
That's
Part of ours?
Hamilton Township.
Been up to Tom's, a little bit of Tom's.
Well, it was two parts, wasn't it?
It's two separate parcels,
Right.
but, total there, you've probably got about 75, 78 acres of land that is available for development.
Several nice trees have developed.
All right, thank you, Phil.
That would be good.
Engineer?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Committee. I have a few items. The first is Tavistock. I just wanted to report that, I know I'm doing this on my own time, but we did complete the survey work out at Tavistock, and as soon as everything is in order, I'll forge ahead and get the design completed. So
Thank
we're
you.
ready to jump in and
Appreciate
start.
that.
I started in on survey work for the 2018 road programs. We have about 10 roads. I just wanted to report that I contacted Atlantic County Engineers Office. One of the roads we're doing is some sections of Babcock, and where Babcock intersects Summers Point Mays Landing Road, that's a really bad intersection there.
Yes.
So I contacted the county to see if I could maybe go into their intersection a little bit to kind of improve that dip that's there. And I was pleasantly surprised when the county told me the other day that they are working on Summers Point Mays Landing Road with their program this year. So I'll continue to coordinate, but Mays Landing Summers Point Road is a pretty bad road, so that was good news.
Good.
Projects under construction, Buffalo Pike Associates mobilized today, and they're telling us by October they expect to have their project completed.
Just the first little bit of it.
Just the first bit of it.
Yeah, okay.
We've done some inspection work at Parmar Liquor Store next to the McDonald's. Zindorf Construction is moving slow, but he's doing some progression work there. And Artist Walk is, a small phase of Artist Walk subdivision is under construction. I mentioned in my report, Anne Marie Leone, I spoke to her again, and her engineer late last week. They've turned over all of the files to me that their engineer did. He has a monitoring well out there. He's done a groundwater study, so they just arrived to me, and I've been communicating with Anne Marie Leone, so I'll continue to take a look at that and report back to the committee at some point.
Phil, how did she make out during this last rain event?
She has about 3 inches of water in her basement. I was there a week ago. Yeah, she has a sump pump running continuously.
Yeah.
Steve, Buffalo Pike, once those pad sites are completed by October, will they open up Renaissance Drive now to collect around through to the back?
That's
the goal, right?
they are constructing Renaissance Drive all the way to Volunteer Way.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's part of this what they're
So
doing
then,
right now.
so then the people will have options now, rather than come out Cates or McKee Avenue, they can come up through Renaissance and come out the front at the light, right?
It should
Or
be
come
quite-
in that way.
Exactly.
Okay,
Should
great.
be a really good improvement.
Thank you.
Steve, is that 2 lanes in each direction?
It's coming up to the intersection with the traffic light, there's actually 5 lanes there. I mean, it's 2 lanes in both directions. It is. It's a tremendous improvement.
Big time.
Volunteer Way, if you, I'm working on Volunteer Way where the cul-de-sac was removed a couple of years ago. There's some parcels out there that are adjacent to some residential houses. And I'm working through the vacating and preparing some legal descriptions. And we're going to be, been communicating with Brian Keene. He's been to a planning board a number of times. So he's willing to accept some of the land out there. Working with Marge Wilson on 2 other neighbors that are going to be accepting some property out there. And there's some discussion about installing another sign for Eaglesmere on a portion of the property is going to be vacated and added to one of the residential structures. This will be at the intersection of Renaissance and Volunteer Way. There's an area of land that really lends itself to a sign, and the association has been talking about installing a second sign out there. So I've been talking to Phil from a zoning standpoint. It seems to work out well, and I think that neighborhood of Eaglesmere is pretty proud of what they have there, and they want to
Yeah.
spend some money and put a sign up there.
Sounds like a good move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're trying to find an easy way. And I processed one street opening permit, and one other thing I wanted to report. I spoke to Kevin Dixon. Kevin's working on New York Avenue, the painted stop bar there that was
Yes.
moved up not too long ago, and Kevin said that he's been in communication with NJDOT. They've asked him for some traffic counts, but they told him to wait until after Memorial Day, which Kevin told me, this is the week he'll be taking some basic traffic counts, and he doesn't see a problem with moving that stop bar back about 2 car lengths. So I'll keep the committee, informed as to how he's doing on that.
Great.
Do you have any information on Route 50, on the improvements that were made on Route 50 with regard to the corrugated, the rumple strips on the right and left-hand side? They were smoothed over, and in addition, it looks like, I guess, a high-friction coating was put on 50 near the curves. Do you know why the rumple strips were eliminated, and whether they intend to go down 50 all the way south for the same thing?
I do not know about the rumble strips. I'll find out, but I know about there's a DOT issued a contract to South State. It starts down in Upper Township by Route 50, and it continues all the way through our township on Route 50 to the Galloway Township municipal line. They're installing some special coating, friction coating on the roads to, it's almost like a sandpaper is the way they describe
Yes.
it, to sort of improve, during wet weather. But I'll find out about the rumble strips.
Seems to be on the curves only, though. The straightaways doesn't look like they're, okay.
And that project's going to continue through this summer. They're telling me by Labor Day that'll be complete. But I'll
Okay.
find out about the rumble strips.
How about some paving on 322, heading from here to the mall? Is that any,
Sometimes we're the last to know, but I know who to call, and I can inquire.
okay. It's a bumpy road.
That
that it,
concludes my
Steve?
report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on to Township Committee. Judy?
Yeah, I have a report from the Student and Government Day. We had a very lively discussion, and we made some, we had one who wanted an ordinance one way, and then there was an ordinance in another way. It was about, the safety, whether we should make sure that all the different merchants have the way of protecting the people from guns and stuff like that. But it was interesting. There were 3 people who voted for one ordinance and 2 for another. So it was sort of a split, which was sort of a good thing. We were thinking about it, had, the presentation, we had people say something to public, and it worked out very well. A lot of things were considered, such as the cost of these things, if the township were to do it, and if the merchants were to do it, and so I think the kids were fantastic. They really were thinking these problems through. So congratulations to them. And that's it.
Thank you, Judy. John?
Sure. First, I'd like to say that if anybody had an opportunity to see the activity this weekend out at the newly resurfaced hockey courts, it was quite a crowd. It was Roger and I were out there during their play, and there was an amazingly large crowd. Vehicles were parked all the way up the roadway. There was no place. We had to go around a couple times for us to find even a place to park the car. We watched the activity that was going on. It was a tournament, so it was open to both age groups. There were adults playing other teams, and there was children, younger children playing. Of course, the job that was done out there, everyone's been waiting for this. There were a few issues, but Steve Filippone stayed on top of it, and we're very pleased with the fact that there's a few things still that have to be addressed, but that's going to happen. But the main thing is we really are thrilled that we now have both hockey courts resurfaced, and it's something that needed to happen. And like I said, a few more things to be addressed, but really a good project. And thank you for staying on top of that, Steve.
Thank you.
The other thing is the Benderson project that we were talking about. I know someone on one of the excavating pieces of equipment out there. I stopped to talk to him, and just like any other project, the road part will be handled first. So they're actually working, like you said, on Renaissance Drive, on that roadway that comes through there, right?
Yes.
And I imagine even at the planning board level, before they can do any major work on the construction of the buildings, they have to do the roadway. Right, pretty much.
The roadway has to be completed.
Has to be completed. So we will see a completed roadway through that project, and then they'll start the buildings. I did see them making some markings out there where the buildings were going to go, but they were concentrating their efforts on the roadway. So that's going to be finished and done. I like that a lot.
There's no phasing or stub. It's that complete drive-through from 322 to Volunteer Way. That will be completed.
Has to be completed. That's excellent. That's the way it should be. And really, the only other thing is the hometown celebration is coming up on June 30th, Saturday, June 30th. Please come out and visit it. Where it should be a great time. We're hoping for great weather. Committeewoman Judy Link is doing the Pooch Parade. That's always a big hit every year, but we have a lot more going on out there, including some vehicles, new vehicles that are going to be displayed by some of the car dealers. The road will be closed, like I mentioned last time, from Route 50 and Main Street all the way down to Farragut, and then the use of Memorial Park. And if you noticed that they did finish the top coat on the parking lot where the jail was, and I think they just have the striping and some other things, parking line stripings and things to do there. So that, and when you look at that now, that is a large, they also resurfaced the parking lot that was existing. So when you look at it now, there's a lot of parking behind the courthouse. And we're really excited about that. On the weekends, when the court isn't being used, when most of the events happen, it'll make a substantial addition to the parking availability downtown. So we're very pleased about that. And like I said, the hometown will be from 10 to 5 is the times. They're going to have rides for the kids. A lot of things to do. Please come downtown. Or if you're an organization or a group, think about getting a table, and that'll help the organization, and it would be a great asset to the Merchants Association, who's trying to get as many vendors as they can. They got a pretty good number now. But that's all I have. Thanks, Martin.
Could I just intervene for a second here? I'd like to see a ribbon cutting for the hockey courts, because every one of us for several years have been working on this project. It isn't just once and done. It's been several, presentations and so on and so forth, which made it happen. So I think it would be apropos to have a ribbon cutting for that event. Okay? Is it all totally done, or?
There's a few punch list items that they're still working on. There's a list of some items. So-
Yeah, because it's been ongoing for several years.
And it has a way of wearing quickly. I saw evidence of that was looking at it after the games, the scuff marks and things that are already on the new court. But the surface is there. It's a great job, and so we ought to do that sooner or later if we're going to do it.
We could set that up. We're happy to do that.
Great, thanks a lot, Steve.
All right.
Thanks,
Roger?
Judy.
John's right, the hockey courts are well worn. I was out there this morning when nobody was there, and it looked like the aftermath of a ball game. Litter all over the place, garbage cans overflowing, the parking lot full of bottles. It's just, but I understand what happened yesterday. In the midst of the tournament, it started raining, and I'm sure everybody ran for cover. And but if you look at from when I saw it, when it was completed, and it was just a nice shiny floor, now it looks well used already. So I agree with you, Judy, before it gets old. The nice thing about what Judy said about Youth and Government Day was I think this was one of the more spirited groups we've had in a lot of years. They actually had a good dialogue, and they disagreed when they debated with one another. And I think that was healthy. It shows you the level of thought that they put into the topic, which was safety either in the mall, and obviously, that could happen. They talked about metal detectors, the cost of metal detectors. They thought about the inconvenience of it, and they also talked about the cost to the merchants. They talked about it. They didn't hit so much on the schools, because I think once they toured the police department and they had a chance to go into the dispatch center, I think they got a good understanding of what they do in that dispatch center. I mean, they have cameras in there. They can bring in all the schools. They're in constant contact with everybody. I believe they still have resource officers in the schools. So I think there's a level of a ground level of security there, and they felt comfortable with it. But what impressed me most of all, they debated. And I think Judy and Rodney and myself kept pretty busy up here behind each one of them, trying to nudge them a little bit in terms of, but they did disagree. Wouldn't you say that, Rod?
Yes, certainly. Good disagreements.
Good disagreements. While I'm on that thought of safety, on Thursday the 24th, the police awards were in this room. And for any of you who ever hear about it from year to year when it's going to be the police awards, you can't get in this room. Every pew is filled and the people are standing. And I thought about it afterwards with all the awards that were given out and the certificates of appreciation. If you want to see and you want to know what your police department does, come to one of those ceremonies. You would be impressed. You'd be impressed. A lot of the work that they do Doesn't always get publicized, but it does get rewarded and recognized here when they do have their award program. So it's real nice to be in the audience when that occurs, because you get to see what you don't always see or hear. The other one was Memorial Day. Rodney here was the master of ceremonies here in town, and it was a day in which everyone thought it would rain, but the ceremony came off without a hitch, and it was just a generally nice day. So that's it, Mayor.
Very good. Rodney?
All right, thank you. First, I just want to echo both Roger's and Judy's comments about Students in Government Day. This really seemed like an excellent group here, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys eventually do serve in government. In fact, a couple of them indicated that they were thinking that way. One gentleman was 6 foot, what is he, 4 or 6?
Oh, the chief of police?
No, not the chief. Yeah, oh, yes.
Yeah.
He was taller than I am, and this is junior high school. I asked him, I said, when are you going to stop growing? He says, I don't know. I'm still growing. But just a very nice guy. It was really, and I thought that we had discussions beforehand where we described what we did, what government was about, the services the government provides, the
PowerPoint on the budget and
The budget.
right, the challenges that we have, and it was very, very good discussion, so appreciated that. Speaking of schools, I attended the Boys Barbecue, which is an annual event at Davies. It's boys are selected, boys who have done something, done a particularly good deed, or boys who have improved in certain ways are selected and participate in the Boys Barbecue. I think there were over 100 people, including some of the guests, and they invite community leaders, male community leaders, to sit at the tables with the boys. And there's 1 to 2 community leaders sitting at each table. And one of the exercises, there are a series of questions that are asked about life, about what their plans are, et cetera. And you have some good discussions. The presenter this year was a Navy SEAL trainer. And I'll tell you, you wouldn't believe what these SEALs go through. It just sounds unbelievable. Last year, we had the superintendent of schools talk, and he gave a fantastic talk. He even played the guitar for us. So it was a great event. One of the things we had to do there is teach the kids how to tie ties, because many of them don't know how to do that. So that was fun. Speaking of schools, once again, there is going to be a science fair. I think it's the 14th at Davies. I plan to attend it. Oh yes, and at the Boys Barbecue, the police participated in that also, so that was good. That really helps with our community
did the
relations.
kids cook?
No, the kids didn't cook, but and by the way, I had barbecue. I've never seen barbecue bones. I mean, I had 1 rib, and it must have weighed a pound, over a pound. Really something.
Now you made us hungry, Ron.
Yeah. Memorial Day, once again, I'd just like to compliment all the organizations that are involved and people who supported that. And we had the churches, we had Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, the fire department, the schools, Oakcrest, ACIT, the VFW, and all the organizations. It was really a nice community event, and we're happy that people attended. Well, we'll do it again, hopefully next year. I attended a New Jersey DOT meeting to talk about the 2 big programs that are being funded this year, Safe Route to Schools, and the other one I forgot the name of. But both programs, there's a substantial amount of money involved, and it's out there. And if communities can present the right data, they'll get them. The main problem is that it just takes so much paperwork. You have to, one of the things you have to do is you have to name someone as being in charge. And I won't say that's full-time, it's not full-time, but it takes a substantial amount of time. But it can be worth it. One of the things that was mentioned is don't submit any programs for $100,000 because it's not worth it. They're talking millions. And this township, with all our schools, with the sidewalks we need, with the schools in different locations, and that, by the way, that includes parochial schools. I think, we could get together and get some of that money. So it's something to think about. Unfortunately, for this year, the proposals are due, what is it? I think it's in July, and I don't know that we're going to be able to make that. But it's something we have to keep in mind and prepare for in the future. And again, it also includes parochial schools like St. Vincent. Just want to remind you, there is going to be the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee is having a health fair on the 22nd, and hopefully it'll be as good. They've got a good selection of people that are going to be attending, of organizations that are going to be attending. I understand they're even going to try to get the belly dancers there again, which were a hit. I just attended, yes, I just attended an aviation STEM meeting. That's FAA, Aviation, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And this is a program that the FAA is really trying to push to get people in this area aware of what we have here. That's the best kept secret here, and they say that people in Germany know more about the FAA Tech Center than people do here. So there are a number of ambassadors. I'm going to be one of them, and we're going to try to get the community more involved, the schools and others. And in fact, if anyone feels that they'd like to contribute to a STEM program, certainly let me know. But you're going to be hearing more about that, hopefully. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, very good. I just have a couple items. First of all, it was good to see the hockey courts done. It was a major undertaking, removing both hockey courts, putting them back in place, and to see them, and yeah, they will get beat up quick because that's the sport that they play there, but it's just good to see them being used by people in the community, even if it's other people in other communities. It was a large investment by the township, and I hope that we keep after them and make sure that we keep an eye that they don't deteriorate like they did before. The Memorial Day events, I went to all three of the ceremonies. They were really well run, all three of them. Very, very touching moments throughout the day. A lot of the family of those who have lost were there, which was, it's something you don't really think about. I think a lot of people think of Memorial Day like a day of parades and barbecues and stuff like that, and it doesn't hit you unless you go to one of these or several of these ceremonies. Rodney, you did an excellent job emceeing the one in the big one in the Memorial Park, and the ladies at the auxiliary VFW did a fantastic job feeding everybody afterwards. So just a great day, great events. The community all came together, and it was nice to see. The other thing I'd like to comment on is the police awards. And I look forward to going to it every year because I believe that our police department is one of the best in the county, if not the state. The one thing that I do appreciate, Chief, is that no politicians are allowed to speak. We all sit there quietly because if we did, it would be twice as long as it is already. So I wanted to take a moment now and say thank you very much. So please pass along to not only the officers that were awarded, citations, but even though they didn't get an award, the other officers, their duties and their job every day is appreciated by this township. They never know. When they walk out of the door in the morning, they never know what they're going to come into. Most of us go to work every day and we kind of know what's going to happen, but they don't have that luxury. So please pass that along to your men and women of the force, and we really appreciate what they do. That's all I have.
Can I just add one
Sure.
thing to that? The awards given out, there are awards given to policemen that actually save lives. I mean, this has happened before. They saved lives, and the people were really appreciative. But another thing I was really impressed with is there were a number of incidences that occurred where you could have been justified in pulling a gun out, or you could have, and these guys didn't. They handled it. They chased people, they tackled them, they did all kinds of stuff, and they avoided the use of guns, and I just think they did a great job.
Okay, I'd like to open it to public comment. Anybody in the public like to speak?
Sitting here too, remember?
Zach, what do you got? Come on, man. Let's
him
hear
on
it.
the
What'd you
spot.
think? Were we good? Did we do a good job? Me especially, right? Is that what you're trying to say? Go ahead, say it. It's okay.
My friend Peter said it was nice to meet you.
Oh, okay. It's nice to meet him, too. All right.
Move to close the public
Thank
portion.
you.
Second?
We have a motion to close the public session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it.